And welcome. We have a great podcast today. Today we have the whole audio team in the Multipla. Hello and welcome to the Maverick Games podcast. Who the hell knows what number of podcasts this is now? This is the first in our content specials, I guess, after announce of the game. And joining me on the podcast today is...
Dave Fox, composer at Maverick Games, as well as senior music designer.
And Alex Laurel, I'm a senior audio designer. Sound designer? I can never tell,
It is interchangeable.
It is, right.
And you're actually not the first person on this podcast to get confused by that title either.
I feel like everybody in the industry that works in audio gets confused about that at some point.
Audio.
It's one of those things, it depends what works best with your name. So it's up to you, really.
I mean, my name starts with an A, so audio designer, I guess.
There's a lot of in that. I should introduce myself. I'm Fraser Strachan. I'm audio director at Maverick Games, but you know me by now. And I guess before we dive into who we all are, what we all do, let's start with the regular bit of what have you been playing. Dave, do you want to start?
Yeah. I, like a lot of the world at the moment, have been playing a lot of Forza Horizon 6. I have been delving far too deep into the world of drifting in that game. Something that I usually suck at in video games and driving games specifically. Finding myself surprisingly good in this one.
You went straight into drifting.
I don't know why. I just fell in love with it. It's the hairpin roads, isn't it? Down the mountains. I can't remember the name.
It is set in Japan. It's hard not to want to go for your Tokyo Drift.
I mean, they make quite a big thing of it in the first, I feel like it's first 10 minutes. There's like a video where they go, and there's Toge.
And it's great. I'm loving it. It's been so fun. Like, it's been a long time since I've played a new Forza game. Obviously, it's been a long time since the last one came out relatively. And it's just been nice to dive back into that and have new roads, new cars, new fun, just to explore and have a bit of a laugh with. What's been interesting, I've been playing loads of it as well. Obviously, given the content and my history. When I left Playground, I pretty much, I had nothing to do with that game. I think all I knew was it was set in Japan, and that was like a big secret for a long time. Really fascinating to then jump in and play a game that is so familiar and yet so unfamiliar. Yeah.
It sort of felt like a dream. Like there's a lot of that formula which is still in there, and the team have done a fantastic job sort of imagining the world of Japan, and it's been getting a lot of love online for its map, its extended map.
Huge map.
I still haven't explored all the areas of it, and I've just been finding it fascinating to jump into something so familiar and yet so I still need to discover everything that there is to discover about that game. Yeah. And they've reimagined a lot of the features slightly differently. I think, Alex, you were talking about some of the food deliveries and all that sort of stuff. Some of the mechanics are slightly different.
Yeah, and I mean that's been one of my favorite things to do because it's so different from anything I've played in Forza Horizon before. With the food deliveries, that you do different shifts, and on every shift they kind of throw different mechanics at you. Of if you go under a certain speed limit, you're going to fail. If you get hit too many things, you're going to fail this time. This time you just need to get there as fast as possible. And sometimes you have multiple deliveries in one run or just a single one.
I'm going to fail miserably if I don't need to hit walls as I'm driving. That's going to be me out of that one straight away.
That used to be my driving technique in Horizon loads. I'm the guy that drives full speed into the corner and hopes that the curve is going to take me with it. And there was a point where we added the basically a bit of it kind of slowed you down if you hit the wall to stop you getting that. And after that, I was like, well, that's it. I'm never going to win an online race now. I mean, I never did win an online race. Everyone was too good.
Wait, is Bowie Knife based on you, do you think?
I have no idea who that is. This is like that Timothée Chalamet rapper thing.
Yeah. I've never seen you in the same room.
It's me. I'm going to pop up doing a rap with Bowie Knife 99. All in some sort of way to promote Clutch, I guess. Who knows?
Sure.
It'd be a very, very Maverick marketing technique that. Well, yeah, I mean, Forza Horizon 6, it's been doing great numbers. That sounds like Trump, doesn't it? Great numbers.
It's the greatest game.
Fantastic. Best ever.
Anything else you want to add to
that? Besides myself playing that, my partner's been replaying Expedition 33 as well. It's been really fun. I played that when that came out, and it's been so fun rewatching that and just diving back into being able to watch it as a sort of secondhand person. It's been really interesting watching that, sort of being able to absorb a lot of the music as well. Because when you're playing it, you get bought into playing it, don't you? And you just go along with the experience. But it's been really nice to watch that a second time kind of thing. So between playing Forza, we're sort of fighting for the TV at the moment, where it's like either really fast car driving game or turn-based.
Very
madness.
Different vibes.
Very different vibes in our house, yeah.
Is the music, I mean, a lot of people have had lots of opinions on the music in Expedition 33. Is it one you're a fan of?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. There's so much music. Like, it's really difficult to not find yourself being a fan of some of it, at least, because did I see an article the other day? It's like 300 minutes of music or more or something in that game? It's huge.
There's a lot.
Score.
And I mean, as I said, it goes so far on the spectrum, because you have parts that are very like French, for lack of a better word for it. And then you have some boss fights that goes into like big, epic, like rock, metal, or orchestrated thing
cool.
with lyrics and everything that really makes you feel, I mean, like a badass.
What a tremendous feat that is, though, because we'll get into this, but we've been writing a lot of music, and you do get to a point towards the end of the soundtrack where you're kind of thinking, we want to reinvent this.
Yeah.
But you're at the nth 100th minute, and like, how do we keep it fresh? Like 300? Wow. I mean, good on them. No wonder they've been winning lots of awards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, what have you been playing?
Recently finished up First Light, so I managed to get through that entire game, and that is a delight. I really feel like that is like almost a masterclass of when and how to use stingers to just make the experience elevated. Because there's so many moments in that game where you walk into like a big venue and there's a stinger that plays that really just like leads you into it. Really feels like a James Bond movie, and it just feels sleek.
Nice.
So much of like that James Bond feel is down to the little moments like that as well.
And especially the music, because I feel like that is really a big thing that ties it in, makes it really feel like it's James Bond.
So interestingly, I haven't played it yet. I've been trying to keep it for a weekend that I've got free where I can just rinse the whole thing. But I guess their big challenge is, like, it's known pretty well. So like, how do you write a score for a game like that kind of has some differentiation, keeps it fresh? It doesn't just sound like they've just reused the theme. I'm guessing they've been successful in that.
I think so, because I didn't feel like I've heard it all before. Like, it felt familiar, but it felt new at the same time, because they're doing a lot of things differently than you would in a James Bond movie, because we're kind of getting that James Bond really finding his feet rather than being the James Bond that we know. So there's a lot of things they've done purposefully differently to make you feel like, okay, we're not there yet. It's like he's getting there.
It's a great way of hiding all the bugs in the game, right? He's rough and ready. He's a diamond in the rough. It's not, yeah. Like, I mean, it does look fantastic. I can't wait to play it. I know that Chris Davies, who was on podcast two episodes ago, he was playing it and raving about it as well. So it's obviously a Maverick studio favorite at the minute.
I think so. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about it and looking at it, and yeah, I think it's a favorite in the office at the moment.
And you mentioned another game.
Yes. So I've been playing through Control again, mainly playing through the DLCs and everything, because both me and my girlfriend are incredibly excited for Resonance.
Oh, yeah.
And I love a Sam Lake crazy video game where you're spending half the time wondering, how the heck did they do this and what is happening?
It looks like the pitch for Resonant is it's Control, but outside.
It's Control, but outside, and even more mental. Like, they're just, all the trippiest bits of the first one, they've just taken that and dialed it up to 11.
Cool. I didn't even know that was possible. They already started at 11.
Yeah, but from what the little gameplay snippets they showed, it looks absolutely mental, with like a room that changes gravity and you're flipping it around constantly and you don't know what's up and what's down.
They are that studio is fantastic at unusual and weird mechanics.
Yeah.
Like I remember playing, was it Quantum Break, which had the kind of time travel. It was the time travel mechanic, but they'd used like granular synthesis to sort of play the sounds that you just played backwards, and it was really pretty revolutionary at the time. And they, I don't know if that was the game. No, it's not the game that started it, but they obviously have a long track record of mixing in linear media with games as well. So like Quantum Break had like a whole TV series that went alongside it that you could watch outside of the game, but half of it was in the game, and obviously that carried over to Alan Wake, has a lot of that kind of stuff as well. Be interested to see if they've taken that a step further with Resonant.
Probably, I would imagine so, because I mean, there's quite a lot of it in the first Control as well, with you watching a lot of videos from a researcher that is talking to the camera about things, and you get these weird, I think they call it the hotline, where it's dead people that can talk to you, and you get this weird overlay of a video of somebody in just a silhouette talking to you and giving you hints.
No one else saw that, Alex? That was just you?
I've never even heard of this game.
Cool. All right. Well, I never said what I was
going to say. What are you playing, Fraser?
I'm too busy being in host mode here. So I dipped back into, I can't remember if I talked about this on a previous podcast, but my partner and I have been loving Split Fiction.
Nice.
Which, I'm a big fan of It Takes Two.
Yep.
I was really excited to jump into Split Fiction. Quite a different kind of, almost like a different genre for the co-op game itself, but still very much a Joseph Fares game. Like, I mean, I love his mentality of like, I think he says like changing shit up every 30 minutes. And like, I'm here for that. That's a very Maverick approach.
It does that. It's a very ADHD game where it's like you get 15 minutes of this and then it's like, oh, you're bored of that. Here's this wild new mechanic that we've just introduced. Yeah.
It's, I mean, I must say, I think I preferred It Takes Two just because it maybe scratches an itch of like characterization that's a little bit more familiar. Like, I mean, everyone can relate to parents arguing or like being in a relationship and collaboration. But Split Fiction is a little bit different, and it, if anything, a little slightly more serious. But there's a wonderful bit in it where you're trying to escape on a bike, and you're swapping between the characters, and then all of a sudden you have to do like a captcha on a phone, and you're like
that's fantastic.
It's just so fun. It's so fun. And like that is some of the best gaming moments is when something just completely unusual happens that pretty much no one else does.
Yeah.
So I just always look forward to any Haze-like game that's coming out. And yeah, I mean, I sort of had the privilege of meeting. There was a guy called Philip Erickson who was audio director on It Takes Two and Split Fiction. We were both out at an awards event, and it was round about the time where Joseph Fares was going up on stage and just like swearing and doing all sorts of stuff when he was accepting awards. And it was kind of cool to be out there at the same awards dues that they were at the same time, and just seeing something quite refreshing and quite non-corporate, and something like they really celebrate their team whenever they win something. So going slightly off topic of the game, but like I'm a big fan of the studio itself, and
it's a very Maverick approach. It's very us as a vibe, I think.
They're like Swedish Mavericks.
Swedish. Go on, you're Swedish. What's the Swedish word for Maverick?
Oh God, våghals.
There we go.
I think
Alex isn't really Swedish.
I mean, I've been out of Sweden for a while now, so
I don't think you lose it. I don't think it's like on a timer.
No.
We can maybe cut this out of the podcast if you don't want it, but can we let on your lineage?
I mean, yeah, we can let it on.
So Alex is a member of the Swedish royal family, like 16th descendant, or is that correct?
The old royal family with the
axes and like the horns on the head and stuff.
the cool ones.
Not that far back. But yeah, we've traced heritage to the King Gustav Vasa, which was like the king that made Sweden into what Sweden is, like the whole country.
That's cool.
Yeah, my granddad has a little note in his wallet that he loves to pull up with the whole like, he's our great grandfather's grandmother's, like the whole shebang of all the generations down to us. And he loves bringing that up. That's basically his party trick.
I mean, I think I would. If I had that in my wallet and I could show a direct lineage to some mad royalty, I think I'd pull that out at every party.
Yeah.
It would be one drink in and I'd just be, there you go, have you seen this?
I mean, it means absolutely nothing today because that family is not in power or anything anymore. It's basically just a fun fact.
I don't know. I like the thought that you could go and just claim Sweden at any point. You're the son that will return.
Plus, we can now claim we've got royalty on the podcast as well.
Yeah, and it really shows in your sound design.
Loosely.
All right. Well, let's get into the meat of the podcast. Obviously, new guests on the podcast. One of the big things we promised on the last episode was that we were going to talk a lot about music, and hence why we brought Dave onto the podcast. I guess before we dive into music itself, Dave, do you want to give us a bit of a background as to who Dave Fox is? Why in the hell you're sitting in a Multipla?
I'm still figuring out the Multipla part, but I can give an introduction to me. So I've been a composer for the last 13, 14 years now, I think. I spent a lot of time in film and television over the last decade. I worked on everything from MasterChef through to, if you're in the UK, you'll know The One Show. You'll know every reality show, every news broadcast and things like that. I worked on a lot of things with them, a lot of sports broadcast stuff. So I spent a lot of time working on high profile events like Super Bowls, Olympics, World Cups. In the motorsport world, I had the joy of working on a couple of Daytona 500s. I've worked with F1 before.
That's cool.
NASCAR.
Anything that the viewers at home would kind of be familiar with, or like big moments that you'd love? I mean, you mentioned The One Show there, and I was thinking, are you responsible for the ooh, yeah bit at the
that's
end
me.
of it?
I can retire anytime I want just from that. No, I mean, a lot if you're in the UK, the audience that would probably most recognize the music was I spent about 5 or 6 years working on the ends of MasterChef, where there was the big fast cuts of everything. And then you get to the end of it and it's next week on MasterChef. And there's these slow-mo shots of people walking down the street. That big, epic, over-the-top stuff behind it.
I think we're allowed to hum the tunes, right? That gets us around copyright.
I mean, it's me that's copywriting it, so you're fine.
Pretty much everyone that meets you says, so you're responsible for the chopping the knife in time with the music.
Yep. I'm so sorry. It started as an easy joke, just to put in a couple of little moments in there. By about 4 years in, we just started putting puns into the titles of all the pieces of music that we were doing. So it was like we kind of lost the plot after about 4 or 5 of them. We started getting to like Romeo and Julienne would be the title of half of these tracks. So yeah, following that, I worked on quite a few big action films, a few sort of drama shorts and things like that. Did film festival circuits and stuff. And then decided to kind of move into video game world a little bit and just sort of casually kept an eye out for a good few years. We met maybe 5 years ago now, something like that. 4 or 5 years ago.
We'd been talking for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it was like we had a very mutual understanding of style, tone, just never quite the kind of opportunity to work together.
Yeah.
And obviously when I started Maverick, there was like 7 or 8 of us, and we had to grow the team. Dave was someone who I kind of went to almost straight. Well, actually, no, you emailed me and said, "Oh, congrats on starting the company."
Yeah.
And then we were like, let's get on a call and see what we can do to make this happen. And since then, we've been working strong on pulling together music for this game, both composed and licensed, and basically anything to do with music we've been working on together. So probably worth mentioning that this is your first ever big game composition that you've ever done, moving from the film and TV world into games.
Absolutely.
Talk about starting at a running pace. Like how?
Yeah, what a bang.
I know, right? What a way to start with this one. Yeah, I mean, I'd worked on a couple of very small indie games a long, long time ago. And it was quite a fun medium because it works in a very different way than like film and television does, where you have, here is the length of the shot, here's the music you need to go underneath it. It gives you just a whole other dimension of how to write music, and effectively it just gives you extra room to be creative with that sort of thing. And the other sort of interesting side of that is because I also work as a music designer, it gives me that extra level of how am I going to put this in the game? I can write to what I want the player to be feeling at that moment, but it also gives me the creativity to say, okay, well, I want this to happen exactly this moment. I want this to happen as we react to this, depending on how fast you're driving, whether you jump off X, Y, and Z. And it just gives you, it's a whole other level of creativity that you never really get with linear compositions with film and television. So it's been pretty mad, really.
I guess it's worth giving the context as to how we kind of tackled composition on a game like this. Like when we started, like, you know, Dave and Alex and the rest of the audio team all kind of received a bit of an audio direction, I guess, evangelistic deck about, you know, kind of what my vision for music and audio was on the project. But it's one thing talking about it, and then it's one thing bringing it to life. And we started talking about, like, well, what does this game require? Does it require just a band, or do we, you know, a lot of people are going to people like 9 Inch Nails and just sort of just saying, like, apply your style and just do whatever you want. Yep. And then we were like, but then we wanted that cinematic vibe. Yep. And then as we were getting through as the concept of the game was maturing, it became really obvious that this game, it needed like big, heartfelt, emotional, cinematic moments. It also needed really kind of cool moments, which orchestral stuff doesn't just lend itself to. We kind of wanted to lead it into band stuff. There's also other reasons as to why we chose that kind of route, which we'll get into. But I guess the important thing is that at one point, me and you were sat in a room and we just thought, if we are going to do this justice, I think we need to do it ourselves.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it came from that idea of, like, as you say, like, do you get something that already exists in the world musically and say, how do we glue this around us and how do we shape that into a clutch-sized whole? Or do we do something pretty original for us and just do it completely our way with complete and utter creativity around the topic? And it's been really, really, really refreshing. I think I've said this online already, but I think this has been one of the most creatively rewarding processes because of that, because it's been the total freedom to be, we're not basing this around, we want this to sound like X, Y, Z. This is clutch. What does it sound like? And we just get to sit in a room and debate for a long time over that. Because I mean, I've been on this project for over 2 years now, which is a long time for a composer to be thinking about a lot of this stuff. And it's been very nice to have the time to let the game develop around us and let the sound come with that.
What's it like to be an in-house composer compared to external? Like, you've worked with a lot of people where they'll like send you a brief and there's a bit of a wall between you, but being an in-house composer gives you a lot more options, I'm guessing. Yeah,
I mean, I spent 12 years being freelance before this, and while it's really great, what often happens is you're basically on a clock for a lot of it, and you're watching the minutes of music that you're writing, and I've only got 45 minutes of music that we can do in this. And then the clock runs out effectively. Whereas when you're an in-house composer, you've just kind of got the freedom to write the music that the game deserves and to serve the game, to better the game with whatever it needs. And I think both of you will vouch for this. There's been a few times in this where we thought, God, I wish we just had a little bit of music for that. I'll get a message at 8 a.m. or something being, Dave, do you fancy just writing just something real quick today? We'll write it in the morning, pop it in the game by the afternoon, and it's in and it's done, and it serves the game in that way. And you can be creative because you're not clock watching, you're not invoice watching, you're not chasing those
It's very
things.
Organic as well because the piece of the game will emerge, and you suddenly go, okay, this wasn't in the original plans, but like a bit of connective tissue would really work for this.
Yep.
We've had the pleasure of, because you're in-house and we're working together, we've had the pleasure of some moments where in the gameplay we're just like, what if we just give a break here, put in this sound design, and then you tie into it with the music.
Yeah.
Some missions, creating these cool moments that would have been basically impossible working with an external composer, but we can work together and throw ideas back and forth and make those two moments sing together.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Or if you're working with that external composer, you're kind of like, is it worth it enough to burn the 5 minutes of music that we're paying this person to create? Often the answer becomes, no, sorry, Alex, you're going to have to make it, or we just don't have music on that. Whereas we haven't really cut corners on this. And you kind of going back to the Expedition 33 example, we've got over 200 plus minutes of music, which we've composed for this game.
Yeah, it's a big soundtrack. It's a really big soundtrack straight off the bat. And it was one of these soundtracks that kind of grew as we were writing it. I think we started with the intention that we were writing a fairly decent sized score that was probably going to match a lot of other games. And as we were doing it, you found the music was sort of expanding the feeling of the game, the story of the game, and it felt like it was sort of becoming part of it, and it just grew and grew, and it's become this big behemoth of a score that's over 200 minutes at the moment, and who knows where it'll end.
Well, I think I said on the last podcast, we've pretty much finished writing the music for the game. Obviously there's all the cinematics which kind of drop in slightly later. And we are doing, I mean, there's a lot of great cinematics in the game, and we're doing like full score for that stuff as well. But in terms of music, we're in a like almost complete state. Like we'll get onto recording in a bit, because that's a very interesting topic. I guess one thing I wanted to touch on was kind of how we landed on the direction, the soundtrack direction for Clutch. Like, how did we choose the style and tone? And Dave, you reminded me earlier today when we were talking about what we were going to chat about on the podcast, that when we first chatted, I had said, and I think this is kind of stuck in both of our minds since then, is that the music for Clutch should feel like the best live gig you've ever been to.
Yeah.
And we have held ourselves to that kind of bar where anything we've recorded, anything we've composed, anything that we've reviewed or is going into the game should be able to stand alone as like a really great piece that pretty much anyone would want to go and see live. And that kind of talks to something at the heart of the direction for the music of this game, which was musicality and musicianship.
Yep. Because
many soundtracks, many games that have bands mixed with orchestral stuff can feel quite clean in a way. It can feel quite clinical, or it can feel quite gamey in a sense, like it's all tied to certain things. And, games are inherently player controlled. It's something that the experience is changeable because of how you play. Yeah. And rather than that feeling kind of like combat music where like triumph when you're doing well, or like bad music when you're failing. Yep. We sort of changed it to feel to kind of say the game itself should be the conductor of this live band, in the same way that when you go and see a live band and they'll start the big introduction and it'll be like the drummer starts playing a beat, but then maybe the lead vocalist comes on and they start saying like, hey, welcome stage left, the bassist. Like, we kind of wanted the gameplay to be that, to help bring in and out these elements. And then I kind of said, Dave, go and make that a thing.
just a little brief like that, just the best gig you've ever been to. But no, it's been great, because it does exactly what you say. It's celebrating musicianship. It's celebrating live music, improvisation, that feeling of being in a room and physically performing with somebody, where it bounces back and around in the room. And it's been a real joy to do that in a world where everything wants to be super polished nowadays. And television and film was very like this for me, where it was, everything has to have that very crisp sound, that very produced feeling. Everything should feel like it's just come out of the cleanest mastering suite in the world. And it's becoming easier to do that for a lot of people where there's predetermined loops that people are using. People are even using AI to create cheap beds of music that they can then write on top of. And what you get out of that is just nothing original, nothing new, nothing edgy, nothing pushy. And working on this soundtrack was almost the exact opposite, where you just get the complete freedom to have fun with the music and just let that musicianship and that
which has been one of the hardest things as you've been writing stuff and we've been reviewing it, is leaving the space for the musicianship, like writing it so it sounds good and we can put it in the game and we can get the kind of placeholder track, but also knowing in the back of our minds that we were going to wait until the recording session to add the seasoning that it needed to make it take it to that new high. So something that's been really rewarding is hearing your tracks that you've been pulling together. And then when we got to the recording session, like just those getting elevated by like 50% by these incredible musicians.
Yeah.
Got that lived in feel.
Yeah.
Lived in feel.
I like that. Harking back to the car customization.
Yeah, because our car, we don't want to show our cars in like a super pristine moment where they wouldn't exist in real life. And it's the same with the music, with the live band part of it, because that gives it the human lived in feel that somebody's actually playing the music.
Although I would like in our soundtrack a little bit more to like the feeling of slightly cracked posh leather than Multipla mold.
I think everybody wants that.
The other thing I kind of wanted to touch on was just the needles that we needed to thread for music for a brand new IP like this. We're coming into a space, brand new game, brand new competitor, brand new IP. Very aware of everyone else who's in the space, all the competitors, all the people that all the media that currently exists as well, because yes, you've got your Forza Horizon, yes, you've got Need for Speed, yes, you've got the Crew. We were also thinking about this in terms of like, how does this live as an IP that people would understand the sound of outside of just games in terms of movies and films. So, we were also looking at all the other biggest movie franchises, Baby Driver, Fast and Furious, and the styles and tone of music that those IPs have, and how do we find a slot in between those which uniquely sounds like Clutch, which is a much harder, much harder thing to do than you would expect. But I think the pitch I kind of gave was like, Forza Horizon, and I'm very, very aware of the style that they have because, large part of helping create that. But Forza Horizon really owns like drum and bass and like fueled pop and that kind of like quite crisp, clean, bleeding edge kind of stuff. GTA, very known for very kind of like synthwave kind of stuff. Need for Speed, very hip hop. So I won't give away too much about what our actual style is, but trying to thread that needle both for the licensed music that we have in the game as well as soundtrack composition, which something we've been thinking a lot about is how do we go from that licensed music into composed music and it not sound juxtaposed.
Yep. So
there's a lot of curation involved with that to make sure that we're giving ourselves the latitude to kind of jump around genres.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's why it's been one of the nicest things that I've been able to be on this for over 2 years now, where we have the time to think about that in every aspect of this, from the licensed music through to the custom music. And I think the really interesting thing is that the threading that needle, because I think threading the needle is absolutely the right word. There is a very small pocket of sound that wants to be what the Clutch sound basically is. And finding that was really difficult, but it came really organically with time. We spent a good amount of time experimenting with different tones, different ideas, different feels and genres and ideas. And I think through all of those, we were sort of spiraling until we hit this little point in the middle where we were like, that was really cool. Mm-hmm. That really feels like Clutch.
Yeah, it very naturally came at the same time as the narrative of the game was coming online. Yep. Like the we were writing the story. We knew the characters of Theo and Cass very early on, but we were still discovering who they were, what they meant to each other, what they meant to the world, what their background was, what the influence of all the other characters around them is, and all of that really helps inform the music that is in the game as well, because ultimately it needs to be an extension of our main characters. We cannot create music that feels like it wouldn't be a natural backdrop to these two characters as they're performing the actions in the game.
And I think as well as that, it goes outside of the narrative as well and into like the sound design on the game and how it physically sounds to play the game. Even if you just turn the music off and listen to all of the sound design that's going on, how's the music going to slot into that? Even from as simple as like a frequency spectrum, like how are we going to fit into that? And it's one of the things I remember earlier, back end of last year, in fact, I remember going next door to the studio to pop in to see you. And I was like, what key are you doing that sound design in? And you were like, oh, it's I think it's in C. And I was like, okay, give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Run next door, go and write something in C so that we can sort of bounce off each other. And it feels like a combined experience where it's not just, here's some music that goes into a game, here's some sound design, and they all just get smushed together at the end. And there's some horrible fight for a mix going on. But yeah, it feels like a curated idea, this whole thing.
It's had a huge impact on the way, at least I think a lot of the sound design in the game, of the music and the style of the music really informs of, it's just that it gives that more cracked, posh leather, and kind of thinking in that term of sound designing and thinking of, well, yeah, there's a lot of like amps and those kinds of sounds and crackle and things. So let's bring some of that into the UI so it feels like a part of the music in some cases, and that it slots in, and the different types of music we have for the different activities and how those reflect in the music, because some of the sound design for UI and different aspects of the game are completely different to match the music that is going on there and how different they are from each other.
That's a really interesting point, actually, because it's something that I've been saying quite a lot recently, is that the thing about direction on a brand new IP is, like, you can have an idea at the start of concept phase, but you have to be willing to let that evolve. You can't be strict on that. You can't say, no, this is what we said in the deck. This is my PowerPoint presentation from 2023. You're stepping outside of this remit. We've actually completely changed a lot of stuff that we said right back at the very beginning. Yep. Which, I'm happy to tear up that PDF that we've got because who the hell cares, right? At the end of the day, it needs to be a game that sounds great, that works well with everything that's come online since that point, and there is a real organic feel to that, which is great. So we should probably, we've been talking a lot about music, but we haven't actually heard anything. But before we hear anything, we did on a previous podcast show the video of the orchestra recording session that we did a few weeks back. Yeah. Dave, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that session was one of, we've got about 10 sessions with the RSNO up in Glasgow, the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, which is always a mouthful while I'm saying that. I have to read the letters out in my head as I'm going, Royal Scottish. So we worked with them up in Glasgow. We've got a couple more sessions in a couple of weeks' time, and then some follow-up sessions later in the year as well, just to finish off the last bits. But
we only work with Royal Orchestras because of Alex's lineage, by the way.
Yeah, we got a discount. It was great. Thanks, Alex.
Well, it was in my contract. We need something royal involved.
We can't cut that bit of the podcast
now. Or you do, and it's going to be very mysterious.
Yeah. So yeah, we worked with their incredible orchestra up there. It's genuinely one of the nicest sounding rooms in the UK, and we had the luxury to look around pretty much any studio we wanted to, and we've had a look down at all of the ones in London that you'd expect people to be at, like Air and Abbey Road and everywhere else. And then I think you brought up the RSNO at first, being a wee Scottish kid.
Well, I had known about it already. It hasn't always been used for like big film and television productions, but I was well aware of the room. I'd actually recorded in the room. This is a big flex. I recorded my first student project in that room by accident. Everyone else, we were asked to do an acoustic recording. So everyone else was getting people in with guitars and like doing like, plinky plonky, like, and I was like, I want to go one bigger. So I got in touch with the Glasgow Wind Band, and they happened to be recording their summer concert there. So I went along and recorded that. But when we turned up so I was aware of the room. I knew how great it could sound. My recordings didn't sound good because I didn't have the same equipment. But we turned up to the RSNO and they said, "Oh, have you been here before?" And I said, "I have on this thing, and also I got chucked out once before because I got hired for a gig to go and film a concert there once. I turned up slightly too late, ended up in the backstage area, and accidentally wandered onto the stage, and then was shepherded out. And then they were just like, 'Who is this young emo-looking guy? Like, get him out, get him out!' And I never actually filmed the gig. And the next time I show up 15 years later, I am the client, and how things have changed.
Serendipity, man.
Yeah.
It always finds a way back. Yeah.
But like, to attest to your point, the room there sounds absolutely incredible.
It's fine.
There's a reason we've done it in two different places. Like, we could have recorded everything in one place, but to get that sound of the incredible rooms right for both the orchestra stuff and then the band stuff that we'll touch on, getting those separate spaces and having it separated so that we could also control it in the mix as well was a big thing.
It was one of the big things when we came into this. We've talked about like the love of musicianship and live musicianship and people physically playing in a room together kind of thing. One of the things in a lot of modern soundtracks nowadays, people will stripe their orchestra sections where people will record a string section, then a brass section, then the woodwinds, and then they'll combine them afterwards. So they have this ultimate control over it. And I think I made a decision really early on with you talking about this, saying how we wanted this to feel like a real live orchestra in a room playing together. And we made a real commitment to make sure that they are playing in a room together live as it would sound as if you were sat there. And I think that was the room to go to, because it just sounds beautiful in there when you've got a full orchestra.
And it's worth saying that everything on this game is recorded live, including the double bass, the upright double bass that I was insistent on.
We're going to delve into that.
We'll get into that another time.
that was a moment.
Oh my God. This is a story I think for maybe either later or a future podcast.
There'll be like an individual reel on Instagram at some point that is just upright double bass playing basically the complete opposite of the style of Clutch for reasons that you will find out, and we're definitely intentional.
It was such a hill to die on, the adoration of a double bass. We have to have an upright bass player in this session.
And it was worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah. It's great. It sounds incredible.
So we said we'd talk about the next place which we were recording, which I think lifelong dream for all of us. Yeah. During all of the announced antics that went on in the last couple of weeks, we were down at Abbey Road recording our band for the soundtrack, and what an experience that was.
Yeah, what a joy. What a room, what a place to be. Just to spend such a long time there, just 10 days back to back at Abbey Road is such a dream. It was so fun being there.
I guess I'm assuming a lot of viewers will know what Abbey Road is, but for anyone who doesn't know what Abbey Road is, it is a recording studio in central London that is famous for having been used to record Abbey Road by the Beatles, many other Beatles records. In fact, interestingly, the day after we finished at Abbey Road, the person in the studio after us was only Paul Bloody McCartney.
I know.
That was pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Wild. But yeah, I mean, even just as far as going away from the Beatles, it's recorded every film score of every film score. Yeah. Everything from the original Star Wars to Indiana Jones to all of those John Williams classics. That sound is Abbey Road, and it was just such a cool experience to work there.
And so we recorded in Studio 3, which is one of it's the The third smallest room. You never know. The sizes might not equate to the actual numbers, but that room was used to record Pink Floyd, and I think we said 1975.
Yeah,
Little Sims was even in there, I think.
Yeah, Little Sims worked in there. You've had everything from Radiohead to Amy Winehouse to, I think Bowie recorded in there at one point as well.
Yep.
The Beatles as well. It's seen everyone and everything. It is the pinnacle of band recording in that room, and yeah,
it makes everything in the room feel epic. Like I'd get a cup of tea and I'd go to put it down, and I'd go to put it on the floor and go, I wonder if that's where David Gilmour placed his guitar. Or just really silly things like you're fluffing the pillows on the couch as you're watching, going like, I wonder how many other people
it makes it
this pillow.
so surreal to be there, because you think of all the people that have been there before you, and you're sitting in there and you're just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. And I always thought it would not necessarily get old, but you'd get used to it. But it's every day turning up and walking across the crossing, going up the steps. It's so fun. That room and that building just breeds magic. And it was so fun to be there.
So the reason we chose Abbey Road to record our band in, it kind of goes back to that musicianship, the musicality, but also making sure we had the right room for our soundtrack, because there's many places that you can record a band. There's many big artists that have recorded in many other recording studios around the world, but there is a specific sound that comes with Studio 3, which is very hard to replicate anywhere else. By recording in that room, you end up with a recognizable band sound, which just adds to the production level, adds to the feel and the tone of the actual soundtrack itself.
Yeah, it was just such a nice room. I think the way that they've put it online is like it's the perfect band recording room, and it really is. Like, you set a drum kit up in there, you just hit the snare, like, cool, that's it. It sounds perfect. We don't need to do anything. This room sounds incredible. Like,
we did a lot of hard work. We did.
Some mixing is required.
Yeah. Do you know what? I totally forgot to mention an exclusive here for the podcast for anyone who was a viewer of the Multipla live stream that we were doing, because we were recording down at Abbey Road during the live stream. I can now reveal the owner of the white Mercedes that was parked at the back of the stream was none other than Dave Fox.
It was me. I'm sorry, but it was the best security cam I've ever had in my entire life. I got to sit there in Abbey Road whilst working. Little camera up on the side. Perfect security cam.
Insert the picture here of we've got loads of videos and pictures of that live stream in Studio 3 as we're recording.
I was so enjoying reading all the theories. I was on the Discord going through everyone's theories about what does it mean? What could this car mean? Is it a car in the game? It's like, no, it's just security. It's great. It's the best security I've ever had.
It was so funny that we were in Abbey Road in Studio 3 with such a talented band and people around us, and we're still sitting at the desk looking at the live stream of what people are saying.
They're
about
all
your
coming
car.
in going, this is funny. What is it? And we're going, we'll
figure it out.
We'll figure it out. That was very good fun. I would say another highlight of recording at Abbey Road was when there was a point where we were recording some overdubs, and we had this fantastic old Fender Rhodes that Dave was sat at playing some keys, and we looked at each other and realized, you're playing a Fender Rhodes with our engineer Simon Rhodes sat in Abbey Road working on a game about roads.
We got a lot of runway with that joke. That went a long way.
We used it a lot. And do you know what? I think they loved it.
It was great, yeah. That's the highlight of the score.
That, and I won't name drop, but there was a certain famous person who delivered us cookies as well.
It was great, yeah.
Yeah.
Famous cookies are better than regular cookies. So much nicer.
Yeah, made by a famous person.
Exactly.
But not known for their cookies.
Yeah.
So we in the recording session we had a drummer, we had a bassist, and we had a guitarist. All three incredible musicians.
Yep.
Dave, do you want to give a quick intro to who they are?
Yeah, for sure. So to give a little bit of an introduction, generally, we wanted to focus on trying to find musicians that have been working on the live circuit a lot over the last sort of decade. So we ended up finding people that have worked both in live and in sessions and stuff like that. And I was basically sent away and said, pick your dream band. And I came back to you with all of these people and you were like, oh my God, they're incredible. So we had, on drums, we had Matt Swales, who's an outstanding drummer that's played on a million really cool records. He's just done a track for an Apple TV series, I think, as well recently, which is really cool. We had Pete Daines on bass, who is just a killer bassist, as well as just one of the most musically minded people I know. That's just such a creative brain behind him. And then we had Hattie Moran playing guitar, who is, I think we posted a picture of the band in the group, and someone just said like, oh, I think I saw her playing with Gabrielle last week. And I was like, yeah, that'll be Hattie. She plays with everyone. She's an absolutely killer player. So we had a real dream lineup of musicians. And then I think the hardest part after that was trying to find a schedule where we can fit all three of those incredibly busy musicians into a schedule that will work with Abbey Road for 10 days back to back. And then to try and fit that around us, as well as whilst we're announcing the game.
And it was coming up to festival season as well. So
Yep.
all the best studio musicians like them were getting booked up left, right, and center. Like they were all saying like, oh, yeah, after this, I'm flying out to Prague or wherever. Like you did.
They're all over the world already.
Yeah. They are gone to the wind now.
Yeah. We will never see them again.
Yeah, we will salute them. One of the fantastic things about working with those three was how passionate they got about the soundtrack.
Yeah.
There was moments where we would record stuff, and Pete especially would listen to it and be like, no, we can do better than this. Like, come on, we're going back in that room, we're going to re-record this bit.
Yep.
And then they'd get in there, and then Pete and Hattie did these wonderful things with the pedals that they were using, where like Hattie would be playing like a guitar solo, and then Pete would be on the ground like playing with all the settings, just trying to get the best sound for our soundtrack. And I won't go into too much detail, but we have some pretty special patches that we've used on the game to help sell parts of the narrative. And yeah, I think that's probably best left there actually. But
yeah, it's really cool. But I think the fact that we had 10 days back to back meant we could treat this like basically being in a band. Everyone knows each other, everyone works with each other, everyone gets to bounce off each other. And I think day 1 and 2, usually in studio sessions, people are still getting to know each other, working out how they play with each other. But once you've gone past like day 3, 4, 5, everyone's just working like a well-oiled machine. And it was so cool being able to see those guys bounce off each other. There'd be little moments where you'd record something and I'd be like, that sounds great. That sounds just like the record, the demo. And then I'd just see them all talking to each other and you'd be like, they're cooking something. They're going to do something crazy in this next take. And I was like, go for it, do the take. And it would just come back with just pure magic. So yeah, it was a really, really great experience.
Yeah, I mean, it was magic to watch it happen and just see them, as you said, just come up with ideas in the moment and just throw it in from nowhere. And we're just like, oh yeah, I mean, that was just supposed to be there. We didn't know it, but it was supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's great.
I suppose that was the benefit of going to a space like that as well. We had taken the time and block booked it so that we weren't like going away and coming back and going away and coming back. We got into it. There was one particular track that we wrote that was like a full track. It's not got much sort of interactivity within it. And it really felt like, oh, this is cool. We're working on an actual song here. And we were thinking of all the layers that we can add to it, all because we just wanted to make this just something that you haven't really heard in a game before.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go as far as to say it's not something that anyone's ever heard before, because
please don't caveat us with that. That's a strong promise.
That was my direction to Dave, actually, was make me a soundtrack that sounds nothing like anything that has ever existed before.
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying.
I definitely think we've used the soundtrack in ways that others might not have done before.
Give us some more details.
I mean, there's some really cool moments in some missions where you use certain clutch tech, which I won't spoil yet, But when you use it, we actually change up the music to really let you feel that what you're doing is actually changing. The band is kind of changing to fit with what you're doing, which I haven't really heard in that way before. And it was definitely one of my favorite things to implement.
I think that was one of the weird things of coming into, like, with this being the first large scale, like, AAA game that I've done. I kind of came in with no preconceptions of what should be done. So I just came in of like, wouldn't it be really silly if we did this? And then most of the times I go to either of you two or anyone else in the audio team and they're like, should we try it? Should we do it? And I think so you've done some of the music implementation as well, but I've handed you tracks and said, is it possible to do this? You're like, yeah, sure. And then 20 minutes later, I'll come back in the room and I was like, oh my God, it works. That's incredible.
And we're very much not using the interactive music system that we have available to us in the way that many other games would. It just didn't feel right. It felt too gamey in a way. And we're going for a really cinematic, like high stakes, high octane, high performance kind of style, which meant that using ideas like that were completely opposite to the interactive music that you would hear normally in like combat systems and stuff like that. And I guess to double down on that, when you say use the clutch tech, it's not just changing like a little thing. Like like the whole music completely changes. So I'm looking forward to people hearing that in particular.
Yeah.
And the double bass.
And the double bass.
So on that, we've shown you some orchestra recording stuff. We haven't shown you anything from Abbey Road yet. So I think we should cue VT.
Do it.
Let's watch it.
1, 2, 3, 5!
right, there we go.
Wow, that was brilliant. Great stuff.
So good.
One day we're going to be pretty genuine about that.
But until that day.
Until that day.
You mean I have to get into this car again?
I don't think you're able to get out of this car,
No.
Alex.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. Alex is our tallest Maverick. And we had this in a pub quiz last year, a Christmas quiz. This is Alex really scrunched into this. He had to sit in a seat by yourself so that he could actually get legs into
We,
this.
No, I
we
mean, this is
considered trying to
normal.
open the sunroof so that Alex's head could just pop out the top of it. We just couldn't figure out how to get the sunroof open.
Yeah, we don't think it opens.
No. It'd be like when they opened the tomb in Raiders of the Lost Ark. My eyes!
I hear that famously happens in Fiat Multiplas.
And on that, I think we have said all we need to say, and I think we can wrap up. Great to have both of you on the podcast. I believe we promised up some UE5 shenanigans next time, or potentially special on Clutch Tech. So tune in next time to the Maverick Games podcast for all good stuff. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye. I like that little sting. It's nice, isn't it?
You good? Yep.
Hey, right pink.
Just because.